Hello everyone, you're welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to accurately and precisely calculate for your bust pleat, either using a straight fabric or a circular fabric. This video explains all you could not get in my previous video about how to make a bust pleat, so kindly pay attention and watch through to the end to get all I'll be saying. So we'll be starting off with a calculation. This calculation is very important because with this you'll be able to get it without having any fabric remaining. Depending on the number of pleats you want, you also be getting it accurately. So I'll be working with a waist circumference of 22 inches, and in getting a pleat, the length of fabric to cut for your pleat, you have to multiply your waist circumference by 3. We are multiplying it by 3 because to make a pleat, you have to fold a fabric in one particular position into 3 places to give you the unit you'll be working with. So 22 by 3 is 66 inches. That is without my zipper allowance, just the waist circumference. Whatever waist circumference you are working with, just multiply it by 3. And when you get the value of it, you add your zipper allowance of, if you are using 1 inch on both sides, you add 2 inches. If you are using 1.5 on both sides, you add 3 inches. So your actual length is 22 by 3, then plus your zipper allowance. I hope you get what I'm saying. And because I'll be having mine as a circular bust pleat, my 68 inches will be divided by the formula of a full circle. The formula of a full circle is 6.28, and when I divide 68 inches by it, I'll have 10.8 inches, which I can as well use 10.5 inches. If you are familiar with cutting circles, you will notice that when cut with the exact circumference, it tends to increase. So you can reduce either ½ inch from it, quarter inch, or 3/4 of an inch. So I'll be using 10.5 to cut mine. If you are cutting a straight pattern, you don't need to divide by 6.28. Just use that 68 inches to cut your fabric straight, and you add the length of your fabric. So a quick recap of what I just said earlier. You multiply your waist circumference by 3 because we are making a bust pleat. Even if you are making a knife pleat, your circumference should be multiplied by 3. Then when I got mine, it was 66 inches, and I added my zipper allowance of 2 inches, 1 inch to both sides. Then my total circumference now came up as 68 inches. Because I am making a bust pleat, I'll have to divide with the formula for a full circle, which is 6.28, and I got 10.8, but I'll be using 10.5 so as to end up with the exact 68 inches. Circles tends to stretch out, especially if you're working with material that stretches. So this is how you get your first parameter, which is the radius. So we'll move to the second one, which is the get length. Our gown length is 30 inches. That is from the nape of the shoulder to below the nail is 30 inches. And the half length or the bodice length I'm working with is 10 inches. When I take away the 10 inches from the gown length, I'll be left with 20 inches. So 20 inches now is my skirt length without the hemming allowance and without the joining allowance at the waist part to the upper part. So 20 inches is the actual length. So you have to take in consideration your hemming allowance if you are hemming and your joining allowance to the upper part. But this fabric, I will not be hemming it because it is a scuba fabric and it does not fray out when you do not hem it. So I'll just leave mine at 20 inches. So the amount to put on amount of fabric to put on fold for your circular bust pleat is your waist radius. The initial waist radius we got as 10.5. We got it as 10.8, but I said I'll be using 10.5 plus this my skirt length of 20 inches. Then plus, if you are hemming, you add your hemming allowance and your joining allowance at the waist part to your upper part. So I will be adding about 2 inches. So when I add all this together, I'll come up with 32.5 inches. This is the amount of fabric I'll be folding for my circular bust plate. And since mine is a circular one, which will just give me a fuller bust plate, I will multiply that 32.5 by 2 and I'll have 65 inches. I am using a fabric that the length is 60 inches. So there's no way I could get this 65 inches lengthwise. I could only get it widthwise, which is the yardage. If you are using 2 yards or you are using 3 yards, you'll be able to get 65 inches. But lengthwise, I will not be able to get 65 inches. So I'll just end up using 60 inches as my length and 60 inches as my width, right? But in case you want to maintain this 65 inches, or you are using an Ankara fabric that just runs 45 inches, just cut the front and the back separately. The front, you cut it as 32.5 inches, but because you'll be joining the front and the back by the side, just add 1 inch joining allowance, that is ½ inch on both sides. Instead of cutting 32.5 inches, you cut 33.5 inches for the front and 33.5 inches for the back. When you join it by the side, you end up having 65 inches. So for us to cut it on our fabric, I'll be demonstrating with this paper. If I decide to cut with my fabric on this board, on my table, my camera angle will not accommodate all. So with this paper, I will do exactly the same thing I will do on my fabric, or I have done on my fabric already. Assuming the lengthwise is, if you are using Ankara, lengthwise is 45. If you are using by 60 fabric, it is by 60. Then widthwise is your yardage, right? So I will just measure my 32.5 into 2, widthwise and lengthwise. At the end of the day, I'll be having something like a square, 60 inches lengthwise and 60 inches widthwise. I'll go ahead and fold those 2 points. Assuming my fabric was up to 65, I'll just fold those 32.5 inches into 2 points. But since my fabric is not up to 65, mine will be half of it will be 30 inches. I'll fold it into 2, then into 4. This is just how to cut a full flay. I've done this severally on this channel, but I'm just doing it for the sake of this tutorial. When I fold into 4, I will have the first part, the first measurement I'm going to use to mark is my waist circumference. That's the radius. The waist radius is 10.5. From that end that is closed, that there is no opening, I will mark 10.5. And after marking it, I will join them together. And the next one is to mark the skirt length of 20 inches. Assuming this is my fabric, I will mark from the end of the 10.5 inches to the hem, which is 20 inches, and I will mark it across and cut it out in a circular form. And this is my pattern. This is exactly what I have done on my fabric. My fabric was so wide that if I decide to cut on this table, it will not be accommodated. So I've done it, and the length is 20 inches. When I use ½ inch to join to my upper part, I'll be left with 19 inches. I am okay with 19.5 inches rather. I will not be hemming it. Then if you want to cut for a straight pleat, just cut out a rectangle. The length should be your skirt length of 20 inches plus your hemming allowance if you are hemming. Then the width should be 68 inches. That is the total circumference you are working with. Remember, my total circumference is 68 inches. 2 inches for seam allowance and my actual length of 66 inches. So just cut it straight like that and you are good to go. So how I'll be pleating it exactly on the circular part is the same thing you are going to pleat on this straight part if you are working with a straight pattern. That is if you have limited material and you just decide to cut on a straight fabric, which is very okay as well to come out beautiful. I've cut this on my fabric, the circular one. I've split it into 2 so that my zip can run downwards. So I'll be showing you how to get the exact amount of pleats you want. If you want 6, if you want 8, if you want 10, the preference is yours. So I'll be using 8 box pleats. I want 8 box pleats for this. 4 at the front and 4 at the back. I'll be dividing my actual circumference, that's my 66 inches, into 8. not included with the zipper allowance. I don't have to include the zipper allowance. I will take away 1 inch on both sides, and what I have in between those 1 inch will be 66 inches. If I want 8 pleats, I'll divide it by 8. If I want 6, I'll divide it by 6. If I want 10, I'm going to divide it by 10. So when I divide my 66 inches by 8, I'll be having each box pleat as 8.25. So each of the box pleats will be 8.25. The width of each box pleat will be 8.25. I will go ahead and use this 8.25 to divide my 66 inches into 8. The first one is minus 1 inch for my zipper allowance, and I'll measure 8.25 and I'll pin it down or mark it. I'll do the same thing, 8.25, and I'll take it all across to the end. And after that, if I count how many 8.25 I have, it will be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then 1 inch on the other side for my zipper allowance. So to that 8.25, I need to get the exact figure to pleat. Remember, I said a pleat is a factor of 3 fabrics layered together to get the exact, or to get one radius. So I will take each 8.25 and divide it by 3. When I divide 8.25 by 3, I'll have 2.75. So in between those 8.25 will be 2.75, 2.75. As you can see, I've marked it 2.75 all around. That is how you are going to do it. If you are making use of 6 pleats, in between those 6 pleats, you divide each of the figure by 3. Box pleats, knife pleats, whatever pleats you are doing is by 3. It must be 3 fabric if you are making a pleat. So that's why we are dividing it by 3, so that we end up having 1 out of those 3 to use as our waist circumference. So I will go ahead and complete the rest of the markings, and I'm done with it. You can see I used red pins to separate the primary 8.25, that's the primary line. Then in between you can see white pins, and when you count it, it is 1, 2, 3. Then you move to the next to 8.25. You count in between is 1, 2, 3. In between is 2.75. That was what I did to the whole of the 8 units I have. If you have 10, you do it to the whole of the 10 units. If you have 6, you have 12, whatever amount of pleats you want to have, you divide it by 3. I hope this is well understood. I know why I'm repeating this, because some of you will still come to the comment section to say you do not understand, or that I do not show full videos, and some of you are beginners. So I know why I'm taking my time to explain all these things, so that there will be no confusion. So when you are done with all this, you have to pleat. At this point, you will pleat. First, the first pin is my zipper allowance pin. Then you move to the second one and pleat it towards that zipper allowance. You pin it, and when you check it, the fabric, the layered fabric, you see that it is 3 layers. You move to the third pin, you pleat it towards the fourth pin, and you've seen that you've gotten 1 boss pleat. Then you move to the fifth boss pleat and pleat it backwards to the fourth boss pleat, to the fourth pin, and the 6th to the 7th, you've gotten another box pleat. That's how you keep doing this till you exhaust all your markings. With this method, there will be no confusion, and there's precision that this is what I want and this is what I will get. You will not end up having fabric left and you will not know what to do with it, or having your waist circumference more than what you want. So when you finish pleating this, just like I've explained, and you measure it back, you will see that it will be your exact waist measurement. Like in my own case, I measured and it was 24 inches. 1 inch on both sides for zipper allowance, and 22 inches for my exact waist circumference. So if I attach this to my upper part, it will rhyme. There will be no excess fabric for me to struggle with. So this is how you get your bust pleats well calculated. I hope I've made myself clear with this video. So if I count my pleats, I'll be having 8 pleats, and the waist circumference will be 24 inches, 2 inches for my zipper allowance, then 22 inches for the exact waist measurement. And when I attach this, it will come out fine. So look at the dress I attach it to. Look at how beautiful it is. And if you want to see the full video of how I made this dress, just click on the comment section. The first link on the comment is the link to the video, or you check the description box. I'll be leaving the link there as well. Thank you, and I hope you'll be trying this out in your subsequent project and it will not be giving you a hassle. Remember to click on the subscribe button if you've not, and leave a like for me and a comment. Just interact, let me know what you think and how well yours came out when you tried it. Thank you and bye.